that, as I mentioned before, the warfare and the persecution had actually increased. You know, of course, the spiritual atmosphere of it became more intense, you know, to a way that I was previously unaware of, you know, that I didn't know was possible. And so, you know, as I learned, you know, everything else that, you know, I guess it was already common knowledge, you know, for me it wasn't. And so I learned and gained an understanding on the things that were already. And it turns out that, you know, literature and your contribution to the earth is way more valuable, you know, in the afterlife. Yeah. I just was like, you know, I was just everything that happened before was like the surface of it, you know, what really was out there, you know, what really was going on as far as the persecution. Because I mean, even though I was invested in, you know, knowing things as, you know, using the Bible as a foundation, there was so much more to the reality that, you know, I was in, and I didn't know and understand it, you know. So I speak on these things as it being like, you know, times that already has passed, you know, come and gone. But in the scope of eternity, you know, it's not something that you know, ever could fade. You know, like even recently, I've gotten so many like, you know, new persecutions, you know, from angles and perspectives that I previously, you know, didn't even understand, you know, or could even ascertain, you know, about my you know, as far as, I mean, anything that already was persecuted before this point was also persecuted worse, you know, in these seasons. And, you know, it takes me out, you know, the carnal, you know, realm. And, you know, it puts me more into the spiritual. And that's what most of everything started the whole time, without my understanding. So now, the easiest thing to do is the same thing that I already was doing. And that is to, you know, bring the light where there is darkness. You know, in the concept of truth where there is lies. You know, destroy the roots of it. You know, but there are things that can be, you know, used as, you know, like a stronghold. You know, they are unnatural and not according to anything that ever was. You know, there are things that can, you know, like persecutions that can be unnaturally lifted against your name, purpose, ministry, anything that you stand for. And those things can lead to effects that you can't defend against. And that's mainly what I've been facing lately. So all of the, you know, I got previous recordings, and to tell you the truth, most of it sound unrelated now, you know, because I'm listening to, you know, I can see some of the things that I was facing before that was purely mostly carnal. And if I know the things I know now, you know, of experience what I've experienced since, then I probably would have took, you know, I don't know, probably the same, you know, the same stand. Y'all would have took the same stand against it, but I would have probably looked at it, you know, or I just say those things were relevant for a season, but now it's at a totally different level, you know, because I've been exploited beyond measure, you know, long before I got to the point of being able to understand it, long before I got to the point of being able to speak against it or bring awareness to it. And exploited is not the word that I could, you know, that would accurately describe any or summarize the situation. You know, as far as like, I mean, creativity is one of the most important things, you know, in the earth. heavens. And just heaven alone. Heaven only. And so I could not stand, without it, because it's more important than anything, mentioned. Nobody talks about it. We know it's significant, but it's so important that all these quotes I wrote through the years and these recordings like this I posted, even some of all of the poetry actually, but it'll be better in the future than it will be than it was in the past. I could put it like that. Or these days are so intense, persecution wise, that even if a man could go to heaven, without dying, it wouldn't even matter in the eyes of any who made a living off the mind of an entity unnaturally. But in addition to the persecution, the progress, the spiritual journey, yeah. A good thing.